Welcome to Reduction Printmaking. We'll start by labeling your edition. Your edition is the number of prints that are made to look exactly the same. In this example, there are 4. The number goes in the bottom left-hand corner, so the first one has 1/4, second has 2/4, 3/4, and then 4/4. And then your name goes in the bottom right. Setting up your registration paper means you take your printing plate and you trace it onto the registration paper, which is where you're going to line up your printing paper. This is what's going to keep your image straight so that they line up. Then put your name, specials group, and homeroom on the registration paper, as well as the back of your printing plate. Here we are at the inking station. The brayer will be in your bottom left, ink goes onto the top left, and then you place your printing plate in the rectangle. To start inking, you place the brayer at the bottom and move it up so that it bumps the ink at the top. And then you pick up the brayer and roll back and forth. Get a little bit more ink, pick it up, left to right, left to right. And when the brayer is covered, you can then go ahead and ink your print. You're going to need to apply a few thin layers of ink. Take a look at your printing plate. You'll see the areas that still need to be covered. Once you feel happy with what you have and you feel like everything has been covered, you're going to set the brayer back where it was when it started so the person behind you can go ahead and print next. When you bring your printing plate back to your printing station, which is going to be at your seat, you'll have a baby wipe to keep your fingers clean. You set your printing plate in the registration rectangle, and then you line up your paper with the registration paper. Carefully line it up, set it down slowly, and then press. You'll feel the printing plate underneath. You want to use an open palm and make sure you feel all the corners, all the edges. Then we're going to pull from one corner to the other. And that is the first print, 1/4. Next, you just repeat the process 3 more times. After you've pulled your print, take it over to the drying rack so it can dry so it's ready for you next class. Let's start on the printmaking image. Start by folding your newsprint in half and then sketching your name on the top half so that each letter touches the fold in the middle. After you have a basic sketch, you can then go over it and adjust and make any changes you want to. Just be careful when erasing with an eraser on newsprint because sometimes it can tear. So just work lightly and be patient with yourself. You can then use a heavier pencil line on top of the light line you sketched so you can see things a little bit better. I'm going to place the newsprint on my registration paper just so that there's a layer of paper in between my newsprint and the table. As I trace in Sharpie, I want to make sure I'm not tracing my name onto the table. Now that you're finished, you want to fold your paper back so that you can trace your design onto the opposite side. It's still on the front of the paper. It's just across from the first name that you just did. So I have 3 cups and I set a piece of plexiglass on top. This is going to help a little bit of light come through so that I can use pencil to trace my name. Now that I'm done tracing, I'm going to put my newsprint back on the registration paper and trace my pencil lines with Sharpie. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to open it up and just do any last minute touches I need. Again, all the letters should touch the fold. Next, I'm going to take and place my newsprint on top of my styrofoam printing plate. And I'm going to tape it on there because I have a lot to trace and I don't want my newsprint moving around too much. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape on the corners and the sides just to keep it from shifting. I'm going to use a pencil to trace all of my Sharpie lines. As you do this, the newsprint does begin to shred because you're pushing through the newsprint onto your styrofoam printing plate. But that's okay because after you're done tracing, you're going to throw the newsprint and the tape away. What you have on the styrofoam printing plate now is an impression of your design. You want to use your pencil and go back over and trace everything. The depth of your line should be so that if your eyes were closed and you were using your finger, you should be able to trace and know where your lines are. You don't want to trace so deep that it goes through the styrofoam. All right, it's time to print your second color. Use the brayer again, getting some ink from the top onto your printing plate. Get some more ink, left to right, top to bottom. It's going to be sticky. It might move a little bit. Then take it back to your printing station, line it up on your registration paper. Keep your fingers clean. Then take your first print, line that up with the paper, rub, feel all the corners and edges, anchor your palm in one hand and peel back with the other. And then take it to the drying rack. Repeat the steps 3 more times. Your last step is to title your edition. Your title is written in the bottom middle and gets quotation marks around it because it's special. I did a little bit of research and found out that my name means sanctuary, so I am titling my project Sanctuary. So again, your edition should be 4 prints that look exactly the same to the best of your ability. Take a moment to be proud of your hard work and perseverance.